Welcome to the Built-in Silence podcast. This is where disciplined people think louder than they speak. Sit back, lock in, and let's break down ideas that make you sharper.
Being competent doesn't make you respected. It makes you invisible. If you're quiet and capable, this explains why effort stopped working. Competent men like me and you assume results speak for themselves. And honestly, it sucks to say, but it doesn't. I remember myself growing up in the Marine Corps. I've always been a hard worker. I've always been the one to take up and get the job done, but didn't really broadcast everything that I did. When it came down to things I wanted to do, the person who speaks the loudest, the more extroverted guy who got to know everyone else and broadcasts their achievement to others or spoke a little bit more, or maybe show a little more signal to others of what they did, those are the ones who got selected over me, who worked hard, but I didn't broadcast as much. And later down the years is when I realized that visibility is different from execution. And sometimes you just need to speak up for yourself and what you do a lot more than you normally would. Also, most people don't notice work. They notice signals. Who is the person who gets referenced a lot by others? Who seems certain? Who seems important? Who is the person who knows the best about this certain task or job? I want to break down some practical steps that you can take now to help you increase the amount of signal you show to others. The first one is name outcomes and not effort, meaning that stop describing what you did and describe what changed. There's a good and a bad to this. The bad example is if you say something along the lines of, I did this work. A good part of that is I reduced errors by 20%. People track change and not labor. That second one is speak at the right moment. Introverted men wait until they're certain, but at that moment, most oftentimes than not, the room has been moved on. Here's some signal moments that you can use, that you can learn, or you can pay attention to when it would be best to say the right thing at the right time. During the beginning of a meeting, during the end of a meeting, when the result is delivered, or right after a decision has been made. One sentence is enough. For example, once a meeting has ended, you will say, before we move on, here's what this decision unlocked, or here's what we talked about. Say the things that you talked about and then say, do we all agree? Try to take ownership of the whole thing and then get others to become part of the process to help you become the overall subject matter expert in that particular thing, or the person who people reverence as the leader in a certain conversation topic. That fourth one is to ask framing questions. Questions, what do I mean by that? Questions that frame authority or frame problems that could potentially happen signal authority more and faster than statements. What do I mean? If we're working a task, you will say something, well, a bunch of things along the lines of, what does success looks like? What would this look like if it breaks? Who owns the outcome of this overall project? If A happens, then what will B do? And then after B happens, what will C do? And go down the line and the line and the line after that. By doing those, framing the problem and thinking ahead as to what would happen after the fact, and probably think of doing things in a standardized way, which means a way that everyone understands that can be changed, then you'll be seen as a person who always thinks ahead. That fifth one is let others repeat after you. This is just high status behavior altogether. All you would do is just plant a thought or an idea early and then have others repeat you later. After someone repeats your idea, simply nod your head and say exactly. That sixth one, reduce mystery, not humility. Silence without context reads as absence. What do I mean by that? You don't need to explain everything in order to make your value more legible. What you need to do is know that one sentence be perfect work that nobody sees. But here's something you don't need to do to kind of get your point across. Don't over explain. Don't justify. Don't narrate your process. Don't apologize for speaking. This is simply because signals themselves are short by design. It's a display of your actions, whether verbally or physically, that you can show others that you got the job done. That is your advantage as someone who doesn't speak much. Those suggestions I gave you above are something you can do now to take charge and push towards others to allow your signal to broadcast higher. Because simply put, or put simply, you already do the hard part. You already do the work. You just don't label it. But once you label it with the signals I gave you above, people will assume that you're competent, that you have authority, that you're reliable, because now they can see you and what you did. Know that there's a difference between humility, which you think that you're practicing, and self-erasure. What's the difference between the two? Humility means that you're focusing on not centering yourself on a problem or a topic. Self-erasure is removing yourself completely to the point that no one knows that you're there. And that's exactly what you're doing right now. Remember this: authority isn't loud, it's legible. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe if you think clearly and move quietly.
Thanks for tuning in. Remember, growth doesn't need an audience. Keep moving in silence and let the work echo later. Catch you on the next one.